After taking a break from uploading to go on trips to Napier and Christchurch, I thought I'd get back into the swing of things with something simple in Train Simulator. The London and North Western Railway had quite the interesting variety of steam locomotives, and today we're looking at what I consider to be one of the most unique and obscure. Here are my 2 cents on the one-off locomotive number 3020 Cornwall, as recreated for TS Classic by Caledonia Works. The LNWR's Cornwall was designed by Francis Trevithick, son of Richard Trevithick, and built in 1847, but originally as a 422. She was notable for having large 8-foot 6-inch diameter driving wheels and a boiler mounted below the driving axle. As far as I know, 0 photographs exist of Cornwall in her original condition, only this one drawing instead. In any case, Cornwall was extensively rebuilt under John Ramsbottom's direction in 1858, with the result being a 222 with the boiler now mounted above the driving axle. The engine's original number was 173, but this was changed to the more familiar 3020 in June 1886. Not much of the original locomotive was left after the rebuild. After her rebuild, Cornwall continued to run in regular passenger service until her withdrawal in 1902. She was then rebuilt as an inspection locomotive, and served in this role for another 23 years. Fortunately, this unique little engine was saved for preservation, and is now part of the National Collection. If my research is correct, she's currently on display at the Buckinghamshire Railway Centre, and happens to share a number with one of KiwiRail's DSG shunters. Caledonia Works released their LNWR 3020 add-on in March 2021, and 4 years later, she is still available to purchase from their website. The full price of this pack is £12, or $26.69 NZD. That's cheaper than normal for CW products, and I suspect it's because of the smaller amount of content included, especially when compared to packs like the LSWR N15 Class 460 and LMS Princess Royal Pacifics. In terms of liveries and model variations, there isn't much included in this pack. You only get 3020 Cornwall as preserved in her rebuilt 222 configuration. None of her other conditions are included. Besides the prototypical LNWR Blackberry Black livery, you also get an LMS Crimson Lake variant, despite the real engine never wearing any LMS liveries. This locomotive is built on SimNation's Locomotion 1.4 scripting, and the list of features includes, but is not limited to, high-quality modelling and texturing, as usual, numerous cab camera views, .3D number plates, a fully functional boiler backhead, animated brake rigging, although the animation is only noticeable when you're right up close, a working water scoop under the tender, lowered by pressing T and raised by pressing Shift T, and, as always, performance mode, which is toggled on or off by pressing Shift P. Thinking back to the water scoop, There are at least 2 TS routes with working water troughs that come to mind, but one of them is not in LNWR territory. The routes in question are Stainmore, Shap and Eden Valley, and Riviera Line in the 50s, with the latter's troughs being located between Exminster and Star Cross. If someone made a steam-era version of Settle to Carlisle, that would present an opportunity to add the water troughs at Garsdale. Since I haven't got the Stainmore route yet, I normally use my collection of LNWR steam locomotives on a fictional route called the Esthwaite branch. I use this route in particular because it features a lot of Chaddock Engineering's LNWR style infrastructure, such as the signals and engine sheds. At around 25 miles long, the Esthwaite branch is long enough to give the engines a decent run. As for where I got this route, it was a freeware download from the now defunct UK train sim. With a tractive effort of only 38.1 kilonewtons, or 8,575 pounds force, 3020 is not ideal for hauling really long and heavy trains. On the plus side, she is faster than I was expecting, as I managed to get her up to a top speed of 68.7 miles per hour during a test run on Marsdenshire. Despite the fact that she's prone to wheel slip and not very powerful, I've enjoyed driving 3020, but I swear the chuffing sounds are sometimes out of sync with the wheel rotation above 25 miles per hour. The more recent LNWR P1 has a similar issue, but I forgot to mention it when I reviewed Gresley's Freight Hauling 282. The driving technique for this locomotive, as detailed in the manual, is similar to Mr. Wilson's more recent London, Brighton and South Coast Railway G-Class, in the sense that it advises putting the regulator at 50%, and presumably the reverser in full forward gear, to move off from a standing start. Of course, you should also have the cylinder drains open when you're stationary for a long time. Once the locomotive is up to 10 miles per hour, you'll need to shut the cylinder drains and wind the reverser back to 20% cutoff, then open the regulator to between 50% and 100%, then adjust the regulator and reverser settings as and when necessary. If what I've read in the manual is anything to go by, the fire mass should be kept between 29% and 31%, and the water level between 70% and 90%. As indicated on the F4 heads-up display. As is often the case with CW products, Cornwall doesn't come with any scenarios, but she does have quick-drive consists. These require the old freeware LNWR 50-foot coaches that were available on UK Train Sim, or the Matrix Trains LMS Period 1 and 2 and LMS Period 1 non-corridor coaches, which you can still buy on Steam. You can also manually set up your own consists in the scenario editor, using the newer, albeit payware, LNWR coaches by Matrix Trains. Said coaches are available from Steam Sound Supreme for £4.25, or $9.46 NZD. LNWR 3020 Cornwall has long been one of my favourites from CW's range, mainly because I've always been fascinated by the real locomotive's design and history. I can easily recommend this locomotive to other TS Classic players who A. like early steam locomotives in general, or B. just want to run NRM locomotives in TS Classic. Other National Collection engines modelled by CW include, but are certainly not limited to, LNWR A4 Pacific No. 4468 Mallard, and Great Eastern Railway T26 Class 240 No. 490. Thinking back to the one-off LNWR 222, I think she deserves an oddly specific 7.832 out of 10.